Can we control them in any way? Do we seem to be able to influence our dreams?
Yes. Yes. There is no technique that would always 100% reliably give you complete control over dream content, but we definitely can influence our dreams. And the kind of most famous version that I'll get to in a minute is lucid dreams, where you realize that you're dreaming while you're dreaming. And that ever since the movie Inception, that's gotten a lot of press. But I actually first want to say that there's something that's much easier to do than that by way of influencing your dreams, which we call dream incubation. It's named for the Greeks had these temples that they went to try to have particular dreams. They were usually healing dreams that they were wanting. But the modern technique is just that it can just be a content. It can be as simple as, my girlfriend lives across the ocean and I'd like to have a dream of having her here right now, even though I don't really get to see her for 2 months. I want a vivid dream about being with my girlfriend, or I love my flying dreams. I don't have them very often. I want to be flying in my dream. It can be just content that you want to dream about, or it can be a question. Why do my spouse and I keep having these repetitive thoughts, arguments? What else could I do differently? So you have a topic, a question, or a problem. And as you're falling asleep, you tell yourself, tonight I want to dream about X. Tonight I want to dream about X. And just make it a simple phrasing, because it's likelier to get remembered. Our memory's on, but not as sharp as when we're awake. So make it something simple that can get through to the dream as a phrase. And then, because our dreams are so much visual than anything else, try to form an image that corresponds to the question. And, if you're trying to dream about a particular person, you would just picture them. An artist wanting to see their next picture might just picture a blank canvas and sort of with something about to form on it as they're falling asleep. So simple phrase, simple image, just telling yourself either a sort of willpower, like I'm going to dream about this tonight, or you can phrase it as asking your dreaming mind, please send me a dream about this. So those are the variations. And in one of my studies with college students, where they'd picked out a problem to solve with this technique, in the course of 1 week of doing this, 50% of them dreamed about their topic. And then interestingly, some of the 50% that didn't have a dream on their topic that week didn't remember any dreams that week. So a lot of the failures are just like, I don't know what I dreamed. And then lucid dreaming is much harder to do unless you're one of the rare people that already has a lot of dreams where you're dreaming. When people first hear about lucid dreaming, knowing you're dreaming while the dream is ongoing, they often think of wanting to do that sort of for some practical application, like, oh, then I could dream about my girlfriend who I'm not with, or then I could dream about flying more, or then I could dream the answer to a homework problem. But it's actually much, much harder to make yourself realize you're dreaming. But you can do 2 things. One is almost the same kind of incubation. You just fall asleep going, tonight in my dream, I want to realize I'm dreaming. Tonight in my dream, I want to realize I'm dreaming. And if you've ever had a lucid dream, or if you picture the moment that suddenly you realize this was a dream, if you've never had one, picture the scene in Inception where the architect is getting that this is a dream for the first time. Just sort of try to picture what that moment is like, whether you're reliving a dream of yours or whether you're reliving a movie dream or just the concept. So you do that as you're falling asleep at night, much like the other incubation. And the other thing you do is you practice daytime reality checks, which are, first of all, just periodically through the day, you ask yourself, could this possibly be a dream right now? Because you always feel like, of course, this is waking reality when you're awake, but you feel that way in most dreams too. So you take the question really seriously and you ask, could this possibly be a dream? just in the most abstract way possible. And then you just look around and try to notice if there is anything strange or implausible going on around you.
Right.
Yes, do the doors look like doors? Are there walls around you just check that everything looks realistic. And then you have one or two tasks that you try doing that there are lots that work for most people, but there's nothing that works for everybody. So you individualize this. A couple of the really common ones are that most people report that they can't read normally in their dreams. Clocks are another thing. Most people find that if they see a clock in their dreams, again, any strange thing, they can't even read numbers on it, or it has some numbers, but they don't make sense as, it's 41:52 is the time.
Yeah.
And then yet one more is light switches do not work normally in most people's dreams. So you just find any of those examples or something else that you've just noticed is always off in your dream world. And the idea is that you do this regularly awake, and that anything we practice by day, especially a new task that we're learning to make ourselves do, is very likely to show up in our dreams. So that's that. The combining those two things, the self-suggesting at bedtime that you're going to have a lucid dream, and checking whether you might be dreaming repetitively by day. Doing those both consistently is the best technique to have your first lucid dream if you've never had one, or to increase your rate of lucid dreams if you only have them very rarely. But the typical person who's not having them could do that for weeks and weeks and would be lucky then to have one.
Do dreams have meaning? Like, is there a deeper meaning to them?
Yes, I think all dreams have meaning in the most casual sense. Again, I really like to compare questions about dreams to questions about waking thought. And do all of your waking thoughts have meanings? In the broad sense, they have some meaning. Most of them are not profound. I think the same is true about dreams, that you can track dreams to being about some real concern we have. So I think that when you think about what is this dream about, that in the really casual sense, any dream, you can kind of see connections to things it means about things going on in your life. But in the stronger sense, I think, just like with our waking thoughts, that only a few dreams are deeply meaningful, really, really deserve a lot of our attention, and there will be something powerful to be learned there. And I think, fortunately, that most of those announce themselves, that big dreams that are going to be very important to us don't feel exactly like other dreams, that they either jump out and we see that, oh my God, I just dreamed something that would actually make my next novel, or I just dreamed doing an interaction with my spouse very differently and it came out well in the dream. Maybe I should try that awake.
Is it meaningful kind of in the symbolic sense? Like, I dreamed that I was walking in water, so my subconscious is trying to send me a message that I need to dive deeper into my subconscious thoughts. Or is it a symbolic meaning? The way that some people would maybe interpret dreams to have a hidden meaning of something else.
I think that can be where along a continuum from very literal, you see or do something in the dream that's really telling you about that thing or that interaction, or maybe I should say that exact thing to my spouse. Maybe I should approach this chemistry problem exactly like I saw it, to kind of lightly symbolized in a way that's kind of an obvious symbol as soon as you start thinking about it, to some sort of much more deeply transformed things. I think that dreams can have very literal or very symbolic. It takes associating and figuring out what the symbol is.